get up and close with Saloni and be part of her very fascinating journey.
May, early May of 2013, I went out for lunch with Kushal, my very old friend. I've always been in touch with him and known him. We are family friends. But, uh, and, we'd not sat down for a meal ever pretty much. And then and the first thing which we both spoke to each other was uh, that about how we have like that we found our guru, because he and me both were on a very similar path and always exchange notes about a spiritual calling. And no matter where I lived, where he lived, what was happening, we always kept in touch. And wherever we would have these little big epiphanies, we would just get in touch and share and everything. And I had become a very, very boring, even more boring person by the time we met. So he had to pretty much force me to come out and have a meal. And I think the first thing which fascinated us was that both of us had the same guru. We had found our guru, and the guru was same. And so that was very, very exciting. And I was like, oh my God, what are the chances? And second was that he had started his own charity, and he had already started. He had just formed his own charity, and he still was working with IKEA full time, and was like, I'm going to Malaysia tonight, and I will be in Italy in like 6 weeks, like that. And but he had also formed his charity. And I was like absolutely fascinated, but I didn't know what to do of that. I was just fascinated, but at that time it was not like I want to do something. I lived in Delhi, two small children, and he was in Gurgaon. It didn't occur to me, but it was just so fascinating. And anyways, when you know Kushal, you put him up in a pedestal, like, oh, he's so like talks when you have to ask him. And he went to this big fancy B school, so you always put him on a pedestal. And then he did this, and I was like, look, he's done this also. So there was a absolute shock and pleasure in that. um, there was all
That lunch meeting was the eureka moment for you.
Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. And then, I remember, and then my family was aware, but they never thought of telling me. Like, my dad was also a contributor to his charity back then. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? He was like, that's what friends do for other friends, kind of a thing. So yeah, 2013 mostly was spent in being awe of what Kushal is doing, balancing work and this small non-profit, and but also me feeling very sad that I can't be a part of it, because I don't know what to do. Can I even do something? I live so far, children are so small. I don't know where Gurgaon is. I don't even know how to reach there. All of that limitations that you have, and you bombarded with even more. Long story short, around Thanksgiving of 2013, I was able to come to Lotus Petal for the first time before, and it really was a Thanksgiving. I always keep, that's why I remember it. It was that same Thursday. It really was love at first sight. It was really very small, very tiny, and two rooms in two different places. The other place they had just taken. And I don't know. It was just so nice and simple. And there were just rooms, but I don't know. It just felt right over here. And it just sounds romantic. Like whenever I'm thinking about it, also. And the main campus which you've seen now, the South City one, it was just like 2.5 rooms, and the other was all boys paying guest. Um, Whatever little I saw, I think I remember how I felt. It was so good, and I could feel the potential even then. But I did not have that kind of understanding or a relationship with Kushal that I could just instantly say, like, or articulate what I was feeling and experiencing. So just went back feeling totally like knocked out, and very, very deeply impacted. Came back again just a little bit before Christmas, and then met Kushal again. And I just wanted to know what I could do. And Kushal was always very, very gracious and kind, and sometimes I also feel naive, and was very, very kind to let me in and as a volunteer. And of course, I can't thank him enough. and gave me that space, uh, a little bit because of ignorance, because you don't know what both of us were doing at that time. I think it was primarily for the love of the search, really. And I think by January 2014, I had started to do a lot of communication work and creating the logo and just organizing things, what I could with what I could do from home. And he was very open to that. One critical thing I felt at that time, which I took a lot of courage, but I said, was that he was running the charity from his own pocket and from some friends, like, two, three of his closest friends, and my dad being one of them, like chota mota, whatever they could give their friend. So if there's somebody would give something, it was good. If they don't, it's fine. And he had started the charity from his own savings, from a huge loan that he had taken. And it was so, when you're running something from your own pocket, it has a different sensibility. And if you want to invite other people to become a part of it, there has to be a little bit, some changes have to happen. So I think that was a difficult conversation I had with Kushal, and he was like, "Oh no, this is all that I can do. I can't ask anyone for money." I want to go back and tell him this, like, I can't ask anyone for money. And I remember still sitting over for lunch, and I was just trying to tell him that, how this thing, is so beautiful, and what you're doing, it's so great, and this can really expand if other people can contribute, but you just have to ask other people for money. And he's like, I can't ask anyone for money. How you can't ask for anyone for money, right? The only thing I told him, like in desperate trying to explain him, was that by not asking people for money, you're coming in the way of all these children who want to go to school, and all these people who want to uh, give money to a good charity like this. And I think he told me, like, that just hit him really hard. And we would talk, and then there were all these registrations, which, how good he is at all the compliances. Registrations were always up to date. And then I think we started to organize the inside in a way where we could invite people. Yeah, and it's been some journey. It's been some journey of transformation. uh, as a woman, standing up for, this is just what I love to do. And so it was considered to be like something she is doing on the side because she loves to do, and she's always had a volunteer gig around. But to be demotivated and to stand true that this is the calling of my life, I think that kind of changed a lot of dynamics and lot of things around me, because this really is the calling of my life. As a woman standing next to someone who is so accomplished, so successful, pretty much revered around. I'll continue to, but I used to look up to him. As a woman standing next to him and giving a presentation in a boardroom, I think that has its own journey. I remember the first time when I had to give a presentation to a gentleman with him, I couldn't take even one slide. I was stammering. Everything that was going on in my head was like, I'm not good enough. I was just like a homemaker, mother of two, not held a proper job. Everything was coming. Can I do it? I don't even know so much. I've not even founded the organization. Why am I doing it next to him? And then who he is, like, oh my God, can I do it around Kushal? I mean, like, he went to IM, and he's like this. You know, everything. So whenever I talk to my change makers, I just tell them, if I can do it, you can do it. You just know that if you're here to serve and to improve the child or to transform, you will find a way. So I think that has also been a very, very difficult journey of overcoming. But I think service is basically, both Kushal and me talk about this whenever we get small opportunities to talk. We are really selfish people. We are really very selfish people, and we are really doing it for our own. At least I am doing it for my own self, because the challenges are so much, so many, and so new, that there comes a point that there is no option but to change yourself and change the way you think or look at things, and you have to break your limitation, and you have to go to the next level. Right? I mean, there is nothing like, oh, I can't do this. There is no opportunity. There is no option. So this unlayering has been some journey, really.
So now that you found the calling of your life, has that restlessness calmed down?
सच बोलना है, झूठ बोलना है? Okay.
सच बोल सकते हो
Okay, I
बिल्कुल.
can attempt to be honest. Um, that restlessness of finding it was satiated. But when you reach the restlessness, you realize that that restlessness also has many layers. So the restlessness of finding that was there, but the other restlessness is of uncovering your own limitations. And I think that was the journey which I don't think I had undertaken as unabashedly as I have started to undertake now. Looking deep into the eyes of what I need to improve in my own self, or what is my own potential, what is my, we are so embarrassed of what we are capable of, or what we can do, or how we are fine tuned to shrink ourselves to fit into a situation so everything is okay.
Oh my god, you're really using tough words now. All I'm taking from here is that you are on another journey of self discovery. Maybe the influences of your life so far have made you resilient and strong. But I'm curious to know, do you have any regrets in life?
Yeah, there is one really big regret I have, and which is I wish I had a better relationship with money. You know, like I said, grew up with not a whole lot of money, but a whole lot of abundance. I didn't realize how important money is, so I never focused on earning money. There has to be some level of discipline and focus on earning money, on saving money, on spending money, and just the relationship with money. And I think in the last decade, after moving back, I think I learned it the really hard way. And then, sometimes you earn money, but you also should know how to pay your bills yourself. Something our culture doesn't really teach you. That financial independence. And if you do get it, goes in your head, and then that's another story. But it should just be normal. It's hygiene. There's a combination of abundance, cultural belief of a woman and money, of you're not working to run the house, and so many things that consciously unconsciously run into your head, and then your personal thing of how you want to live your life, like just in a little bag, travel the world. It's not a bad thing, and it's not the best thing. It's just an energy, and you need it, and you need to use it. That's it. That's what a relationship with that energy is, what I'm saying. Some people feel secured when they have too much money. No, no, nothing of that. I just wish I had a better relationship with money.
Now that you've learned so much about life, maybe if you met your 18-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Calm down. I would just tell her to calm down. I would tell her to just calm down. Get there. You'll see the world. You will live in those places. All those things you want to do, that'll happen. Just calm down at that age, in that small town. That is what you can do, what you're doing right now. That everything that's in your head or here will happen, but just calm down and have the faith that it'll happen.
So हम 18-year-old self की बात कर रहे हैं. So any message for the children of today?
I think the most important thing for children these days is not to confuse pressure from discipline. What they feel pressurized with is sometimes just basic discipline. If we just keep the focus on that, a lot of things will ease out to begin with, and they would be able to start thinking straight. And once you put yourself, your body and mind into a sense of discipline, you will know what is the right thing to do in a given situation, right? So I can, if I give an example, showing up to a place on time is discipline, but people feel pressurized with these expectations. Coming out and wish a relative, when you are in your room, is pressure, but it is courtesy. So I think the first step towards, clearing all the clutter is differentiating what is pressure and what is discipline. Because I think we give our children a lot of open opportunities, democracy at home. So there is a lot of, everybody is living their own life at a very young age, and we respect that. but I think you can't negotiate discipline and punctuality and values. So, I think if they can filter that, what is discipline and the lack of discipline, sometimes they feel pressured. So I think that will help them not to succumb to real life outside their parents' home, because in real life the rules are same for everyone. 12 p.m. show up is 12 is noon show up, right? And so I think that is a starting point, that if we can make that little list of things at 2 a.m. if you sleep, and if your mom is asking you to sleep at 10 p.m., it's pressure, but it's discipline, right? Turning your homework on the day it's expected, it's pressure, but it's discipline. It's pressure. Studying during your exam time and not turning on the television is pressure, but I think it's discipline.
Great.
Right? So I think first level is filtering that. Second is taking good care of nutrition and exercise. I think that open time, when you remove that, this is not pressure, this is discipline, you'll get a lot of time. And I think focusing on your nutrition and exercise will help clean out a lot of garbage from the head. And third, a lot of things that are driving you crazy right now and are determining uh, failure and success for you in your head don't really matter outside after a point of time, right? Like I told you, Sunita, like until today, you did not know what college I went to, what degree I had, and what my first job in England was. And I don't think whether I was working for the BBC Asian Network or whether I was doing dishes at a restaurant would make any difference to you. But going crazy about the university you need to be in and beating yourself and going into depression because you couldn't crack that university or in that first list, I don't think you're being fair to any bit of your upbringing. So, I think, and lastly, I think, just be honest to what you want to do every single day and do it consistently. You can't do just what you love to do every single day. What you love to do, you can do like maybe 2% in 1 month. 98% you have to do things you don't like. So please remember that just for that 2%, and the more successful you will be in your life, even that 2% will become lesser, right? So you have to keep going with what you don't like and find your moments and spurts, and don't hold on to things which don't have a because now you know so much, because of so much information you feel you know so much. So, but not a whole lot of that is relevant when you step out of your parents' homes.
It's been lovely talking to you, Saloni. I know I can just go on, but I know I have to let you go. You've been getting calls from home. But just before I let you go, I have this segment called the Oscar speech. And this is your moment to thank everyone who's contributed to your journey so far.
I think I would begin with thanking my children for choosing me as their mom. I think that has brought in a lot of action to the thoughts and words or ideas of my journals and head mind. you know um, the kind of discipline, focus, and life I need to bring together to give them a home, and also to look at myself so that my children understand that this is how we work and do things. I think that kind of is I'm very, very grateful to them, and they have seen me in my lowest and continue to see me in my highs and lows and stresses, and in um the honesty and the truth of every day of my life, and yet they love me. They don't choose, or they don't keep the phone down, or they, you know and even in everything and every day, and they're the only ones who live with me, right? I mean, of course, my dog, but and they see me every day. So I think in all those imperfections and the struggles, I think that love I get from them, I think I'm extremely grateful for that and thankful. And yeah, it gives me a lot of grounding, which I think was missing in my life. Of course, so many friends and family and parents and you know so many situations in life that I'm grateful for. But I think I'm most grateful for all the challenges that have come my way, and that divine energy that gives you the ability to, collect yourself to overcome those challenges. I think that is very, 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 very grateful for that. For my parents, who their every day was an imperfection and a struggle and a challenge, and it was just so tough in most times, and still giving that um, trust and faith and the wings, like they say, okay, like, oh, you'll do it. I don't know if it was ignorance or faith. I think that was that, and definitely. And I was married once to a solid partner who continues to be my greatest friend and a cheerleader. And I think I'm very, very grateful for that partnership that I've had with him, and the new partnership I have with him, and how we are parenting the children. And I think um, the new relationship, and the confidant in each other, and in this today's mad world, having one person that you can just like know that you can share things. I think that is very, very grateful. I am extremely grateful for um, Kushal letting me embrace lotus petal and call it my own. And the moments where I have not called it my own were my own challenges and my own limitations, and it had nothing to do with him really. The opportunity to have that learning, I think that has been exceptionally rewarding so far. And all the people who work in my house who come and ring the bell every day so that I can go and work and live this life. But there's just been so many friends and family members and my friends in America who I can still pick up the phone and tell them exactly, and uh, pick up the thread, and they accept me. And I think there's a friend of mine who told me something really beautiful, and I told her to write it, and it hangs on my wall, that you can do anything. You don't need too much money, and not even so much we think we need. So uh, it's okay to fall, and know I'll be there to pick you up and love you just as much as I love you today. And just know I'm there. I think these relationships, and many of my friends and uh, people around me echo this, so which I think is a blessing. Thank you to all of them, and to you for making me sit for so long in one place and talk about the most uncomfortable things of my life, which have been long overdue, and creating this really beautiful space in this absolutely beautiful home. And just really, really thankful for you today and in this moment. Really very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
It's
Saloni.
really sunny side up.
And last but not the least, just before I let you go, just share your positive mantra with us. What keeps you going?
I think going deep within, and the spiritual practice of going deep within, and there are many ways to do that. It's not that you get onto the mat and do something, but in many moments of the day, I think the ability to go deep within, and knowing that everything will be okay, and when it's not okay, it's even better, and that there is a plan and it eventually unfolds and it's great. I think that faith, and especially in the lowest moments, that just breathe and it'll be okay. And until then, go have a cup of tea in your favorite white mug. And if it's really been a bad day, then get that extra slice of cake and it'll be fine. So I think that that going deep within, and finding that sanctuary. And there is a reservoir in all of us. And if we don't tap into that, then we have to go out and do other things, which also I do and I have done, because sometimes it gets very difficult. But that little space inside all of us, I think that is what keeps me going and is my uh, writing, that keeps me positive. And the externals, um, beautiful white mugs with tea, nice dry cakes, fresh flowers, smell of fresh cut grass, some silly conversations with my girlfriends is what keeps me positive. Yeah.
And that brings us close to my two-part series conversation with Saloni Bharadwaj. I had a great time talking to her, and I hope you enjoyed it too. I'm now going to go and have my favorite adrak wali chai in my favorite white mug. See you next Sunday with another story, another life journey. Until then, look up at Sunny Side Up.